episode where we'll be discussing how we navigated our way all the way from college into corporate life.
I am super duper excited for today's episode, honestly, because it's not been very long when I've just completed my MBA, and today I'm going to get to relive all those moments again. So I am ready to dive into this.
I know. So when you think about your college life, MBA days, so what comes first to your mind actually? क्या हमें memories याद आती हैं इतनी?
Honestly, for me, it's just the fun, the carefree attitude, not so much stress, not so much, that inner thing to just you need to succeed here, you need to get ahead. That level of competitiveness was not there in college. And the moment I think about MBA, so MBA तो I think बहुत ही funny note पे start होता है because when I completed my graduation in engineering, that was so much different from MBA. The moment you enter MBA, there begins a fight of getting into committees. Remember, often there used to be this core committees, non-core committees. There used to be next level competitiveness between everybody to get into the core ones. Me, myself, I was like, I luckily got through the placement committee, of course, but
The one I didn't want at all. इस चीज में opposite.
Smart you, but I don't want to get there also. But yeah, so that placement committee, alumni committee, those stressful interviews. 4 बजे सुबह भी काफी बार interviews होते थे. So and that competing with everybody and around people you don't even know, because कितना दिन हुआ होता है, 10 दिन, and people from all around the world. It's like madness. I'm sure तेरा भी committee entering का process must have been a hassle one, yeah, a hassle one.
Really. So the first month when I joined the MBA college, of course, you're trying to know क्या चल रहा है या what are we supposed to expect, and suddenly seniors are announcing in every class कि guys be ready, अब तुम्हारा interview process start होगा of getting into these different committees, right from your core committees like you said, marketing, finance वाले तो थे, and then there's dancing and singing and so much more.
Yeah.
Placement committee में मुझे तो कभी interest नहीं था. I was more inclined towards marketing because that was always my interest. Because coming from a commerce background, I got that opportunity also to deep dive more into it पहले से. So I was wanting to go into that committee also for the sake of networking with the seniors who are already studying marketing in the second year. तो एक तो मुझे लगा उनसे networking भी हो जाएगी, but fun भी तो करना है. So I also joined the dance committee, which was also fun. We got a chance कि चलो कोई event है तो we are dancing, performing. तो मुझे तो इन 2 committees को join करके बड़ा मजा आया.
This also reminds me अपना fest हुआ करता था, याद है? Shit, yeah.
The highlight of the year, ना?
That was the only time when you interacted cross classes also,
Right.
Chance मिलता था हर एक से बात करो, and different people around from all over the country. That was the time.
वरना कितना बड़ा बैच है यार MBA में. You can't know every person. It is so difficult. But I think ये clubs and committees के through I got to know so many people जो वरना तो possible नहीं होता. ना वो मेरे क्लास में थे, ना मेरे सेक्शन में, ना वो मेरे डिपार्टमेंट्स ज्वाइन कर रहे थे. कैसे होती फ्रेंडशिप नेटवर्किंग? तो I think it was a very nice thing.
I think the first 2 months or maybe a month, I think, is very much fun. Fest, committees, meeting new people. Cut to August and your summer placements begin. That again, like not the dark side of MBA, the most learning side of MBA, because that's the time you learn the most. Getting through those interviews of multiple companies, of competing with anybody and everybody around you. So that phase of just entering a college where you're trying to know people, but to just start competing with them. So वो shift भी एक थोड़ा एक अलग तरीके का feeling होता है, एक anxiety होती है कि यार suddenly you have to be better than the next person in line. That's how you're gonna get through that job. I still remember my summer placement was very funny. Apparently it was supposed to start at around 11 or 12 in the morning, but it so happened that it started at 3 or 4. And my process was on till 11 p.m. Like 11 बजे तक I was in office. I was wondering last round बाकी है, होगा नहीं होगा, क्या होगा. God, those I think that entire period of having that stress till you get placed was an other feeling altogether. Yeah.
I know, but my experience was थोड़ा different क्योंकि summer internship के लिए मैं कोई interviews में नहीं बैठी बैठी थी because I tried it my way through other sources because I had a dream company in my mind कि internship तो यहीं करनी है and वो sadly campus नहीं आ रहे थे. So I was like, let me try it my way. Internship तो भाई वहीं करनी है. And luckily I got through their rounds through इधर उधर से ढूंढा opportunity कहाँ से मिलेगी, थोड़ा contacts के through I managed to go through. And ये वाली चीज़ों से मैं तो भाई बच गई थी. Otherwise this was another daunting task to sit इसके लिए भी पहले से मतलब.
Lucky you. I'm gonna say this, lucky you. If you skip the summer internship process, lucky you, because that is when people realize कि यार इसके बाद ना it's so important to get a PPO because nobody wants to go through that hassle in the coming year again. Everybody wants to enjoy their second year of MBA. So once that also gets done, मेरे case में तो since I am a COVID pass out, so first year was on campus, but the second year was at home. So in fact, from the time my internship started, I was at home. So my summer internship was a virtual one. So my experience of being on a job was not so real because again I had the leisure of getting up at 9 and sitting at work at 9:30. I didn't have to travel or wake up early to reach work. So वो एक थोड़ा difference था. But उसका एक flip side ये भी था कि there was no end time to it. रात के 9 बजे भी we used to have calls and वो एक time था when everybody was still settling into the COVID phase. So people were learning tech, people were learning how to interact through Teams, how to get work done virtually. So my experience was a little hell over there.
Right, but for me, I was blessed. I was not from that COVID era. So my internship was proper, going to office because see, this was my first opportunity to enter into a corporate space. Already student थे, but ये opportunity मिल रही थी कि for 3 months we can switch from that student life to that corporate life, get a flavor of what's coming in our life from next year. So काफ़ी अच्छा experience था, every day going to work, meeting new people. बिल्कुल आइडिया नहीं था. आई वॉज दिस किड इन कॉलेज कि कैसे बात करनी है, मैनेजर्स क्या होते हैं, ऑफिस एनवायरनमेंट क्या होती है, कैसे बैठना है, क्या काम करना है, कोई आइडिया नहीं था. वेंट विद अ कम्प्लीटली ब्लैंक स्लेट. I got to learn so much because luckily I was blessed with an amazing mentor over there. She took me through all the processes, कैसे क्या करना है. I was like a shadow of her, following her in the office. कौन से टीम से जाके कैसे बात कर रही है, कैसे as basic as email लिख रही है, campaigns कैसे design कर रही है, interacting with other people on the floor, like with some senior people in different teams. बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोसेस था. इतना कि एक दिन छुट्टी नहीं ली है मैंने पूरे इंटर्नशिप में. इतना सिंसियरली 3 months एवरी डे आई हैव गॉन टू ऑफिस बिकॉज मज़ा आने लग गया आफ्टर अ पॉइंट. जो डॉन्टिंग लग रहा था स्टार्ट में, दैट कन्वर्टेड इनटू फन. एंड एक्चुअली दैट्स व्हेन आई रियलाइज्ड कि हाँ ये तो करना है. बिकॉज अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल कैन ऑल्सो स्विच देयर माइंड आफ्टर एक्सपीरियंसिंग दिस कि ये करना भी है कि नहीं, या ये जो डिपार्टमेंट ज्वाइन कर रहा है ये करना भी है कि नहीं. That's when I think I got sure करना तो भाई यही है. And I was really waiting कि चलो अब इसके बाद back to college and now let's see how the second year proceeds.
Actually, now that you say it, I really feel that I missed all of this, because my interaction was very limited to my manager then and the colleagues in my team. So all the new joinees together, all the interns, we never got to interact as such. Till date, like we have each other on Instagram, but we hardly talk because we don't have that bond. हम लोग थे ही नहीं साथ में ऑफिस में. हम लोग ने मिलकर इतने असाइनमेंट्स या प्रोजेक्ट्स साथ में किए ही नहीं कि वो रैपो बन पाए. So that is something I truly miss in my second year of MBA and my summer internship. Again, because MBA honestly I think is an amazing course in the sense because when I compare it with engineering, the amount of learning that you get from an MBA course is immense. You are out there interacting with anybody and everybody, you are networking, you are learning, you are gaining as much as you can. So for that, being on campus is the most important thing ना. अगर आप physically लोगों से बात नहीं कर रहे हो, presentations नहीं दे रहे हो, online presentations दे रहे हो, read करके book में से, like that really makes a lot of difference. So that is something I truly feel that I missed. While I think you had a great experience on that.
Yeah, that's true. Especially you being an engineer, पहले कहाँ presentations किए? तुम लोग तो बस machines के बारे में पढ़ते हो, machines की तरह काम करते हो. One thing you can appreciate about commerce students, वरना science वाले करते नहीं है ना appreciate. हम तो graduation days से we were still in that flow of studying similar subjects or say giving these kind of presentations because it was studying more on the management side of things through our graduation. But I think for you the experience was very different in MBA.
I still wonder why engineering side came into marketing, but I'm glad I did. Really glad I did not take a master's in engineering, rather I stayed back, did an MBA because नहीं हो पाता यार, coding नहीं हो पाता, नहीं हो पाता. That really came from heart, नहीं हो पाता. But yeah, going ahead, after summer internship, it's either the good phase for a lot of people who have got PPO, otherwise again the grinding begins for the final interviews. हमारे बैच में तो यार 70-80% of them were reappearing again for the final placements because COVID batch था, so PPOs इतने मिले ही नहीं.
That's true.
But in your batch, I think it must have been the opposite.
In my batch, it was a mixed bag, of course, because depends on which company you were working in. Like the company I did my internship in, they had like a hiring freeze for management trainees in the following year. So unfortunately, I couldn't get a PPO from them. So I had to sit for the placements along with a lot of other people. So that's when the hustle began. Na? जब internship खत्म हुई, we were back to college again, living that student life for the last time. क्योंकि constantly मन में चल रहा था कि यार ये 3 महीने तो experience कर लिया, अब अगले साल से पूरी life ही ये होनी है. Now let me make the most of this final year of being a student. थोड़ा मस्ती कर ली जाए, थोड़ा सा light moments enjoy कर लिए जाए, but also पता ही था we have to gear up for the placements because it was the most crucial.
True. I remember my placements were virtual that year.
Even that was virtual.
Listen, that's a good thing. Virtual exams and virtual placements were quite cool. Rest everything virtual was not very cool, but yeah. So once that got over, I think the entire fun period began because that is when you feel like यार last 2-3 महीने हैं, you enjoy full day night movies, time pass. I think that's actually the best time of your MBA because I remember clearly the day you get placed, there is a different feeling about yourself. That feeling of being so ambitious, of feeling of achieving something in your life. Like that day you're actually on the top of the world, and then उसके बाद जो वो नींद आती है ना next 2-3 दिन, that is called नींद जो भी आई नहीं है काफी टाइम से. But yeah, that perfect sleep, that perfect non-guilty time of going, enjoying, partying, that's a different feeling.
Even I remember the day I got placed, it was such a sense of relief. I remember November में I got placed and there were still 3-4 months left for the college to be over. फिर तो वो जो 3-4 महीने धमाल किया है कि भाई अब हो गई placement, now बस we have to just sail through this. And last time I enjoy करने का because then what, we had to gear up for the main corporate life we were working so hard for.
Yes. Don't you think that transition is actually the transition that people fear about?
Yes.
क्योंकि वो 2-3 महीने अपन ने सिर्फ we have just chilled around.
Yeah.
We have had no routine, no timings, what time to wake up, what time to sleep. There was literally nothing in place.
Yeah.
Cut to one morning, you have that training of your first job beginning, and especially for the both of us being freshers, that being like a totally different zone that you are entering. Long training hour sessions, being online from 9 to 6. Being in that zone of understanding कि काम क्या है, क्या करना है. Especially for me, at least I can say कि I was very confused since it was my first job and I did not know how a corporate culture looks like. And just by the way, my first job was also virtual. I started off virtual till 6 months. It was online. So I really did not know. I really sometimes felt that I'm maybe missing out on a lot of things because that communication with your manager always stays restricted if you've not met them in person.
That's true.
There's always an apprehensive side of it कि कैसे होती हैं चीज़ें, क्या होती हैं, am I doing the right way, I don't know if we are communicating in the right amount of time, for the right amount of time, what is happening. तो मेरे लिए वो थोड़ा period of transition was honestly confusing. I was still trying to figure out from my end कि क्या कैसे करनी है चीज़ें.
even I clearly remember day one of office. जितना nervousness थी उतनी ही excitement भी थी कि how this day is going to be like. I'm going to meet my team, my manager, be on that floor, which I was looking forward to कि यहाँ पे finally job करने मिली है. It was a company I was looking forward to. First day induction starts. इतना इन्फ्लो ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन था. आई स्टिल रिमेंबर इतना ओवरवेलमिंग था. ओके ये भी हो रहा है, ये भी होता है. ओके, हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस, अंडरस्टैंड दैट. But it was also a lot of fun because I got the chance to meet so many people, go because they were giving us an opportunity to meet different teams, head of departments from say different departments, whether it was credit or legal or finance or marketing. So I think ये offline experience बहुत different था than what you experienced definitely when I started working. बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट होता है आई थिंक इंटरेक्टिंग, कम्युनिकेटिंग, बिकॉज कॉलेज से हम एक अलग कॉन्फिडेंस से आते हैं कि अरे हम तो बेस्ट हैं, हम तो ये कर लेंगे, वो कर लेंगे, इतना अच्छा कॉलेज में परफॉर्म किया था. बट थिंग्स आर वेरी डिफरेंट व्हेन यू एक्चुअली एंटर कॉर्पोरेट स्पेस बिकॉज ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ पीपल सराउंड यू. देयर आर पीपल हु आर सो एक्सपीरियंस्ड, दे आर जूनियर्स, दे आर योर ओन बैचमेट्स. सो mingling with everybody becomes very important. So that was one thing I felt was very important when I transitioned as a student to being in the corporate space. That trying to understand, trying to mold myself so that I get comfortable with every person around me and can communicate what I want to.
Honestly, I really relate to you on the point because after 6 months when I was suddenly one day I was just called to office. Luckily my office was in Bombay and I'm based out of Bombay, so I didn't have to travel anywhere, but people traveling from different cities to join back office. I remember the first day I went to the actual workplace office. I realized कि यार ये 9 to 5 बैठना एक जगह पे is horrendous. Like how do you do that? Because at home you always take those 10-minute naps, those थोड़ा उठ के वॉक कर लोगे, इधर उधर स्ट्रेचिंग कर लोगे, मॉम डैड से बात कर लोगे, and in office you're surrounded by so many unknown people and they are your only option that you have to communicate with. You have no other choice. Either you start building in your relations in such a way that you become comfortable with people, or you choose your set of people, but you need to find a way out because you can't just be sitting there 9 to 5 not talking to people, be in your zone. That's honestly a very difficult way of surviving through that long hours in office. So like rightly you said about networking, communication, ये दोनों तो बहुत ज़्यादा important है, especially when people of different age groups are there. And because your manager is definitely senior to you, and if that communication also does not happen in a very flowy manner, it usually becomes difficult to survive in office. So that kind of building those networks, building those relations in office is truly important.
Correct. जैसे तू यही बोल रही है, like in college it was very easy to make friends because maximum people were our age group, 1 or 2 years here and there, which was not much of a difference. But here you also have to interact somebody who's 10 years elder to you, maybe younger to you, same age group. तो वो एक rapport build करना with somebody who can maybe not relate to you was not the most easy thing, I would say. But it was one thing I had to adapt to, that करनी पड़ेगी बात, एक रिलेशन बनाना पड़ेगा. एंड टुडे आई कांट बिलीव आई हैव अ बेस्ट फ्रेंड हु इज 10 years elder to me in office, जो मैं कभी इमेजिन भी नहीं कर सकती थी. बट आई लव इंटरेक्टिंग विद हर. सो सी, दिस इज व्हाट ऑफिस कैन डू टू यू, कॉर्पोरेट स्पेस कैन डू टू यू. जिस चीज़ का मेरे पे तो कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं था कि आई कैन बी सो क्लोज टू समबडी हु से सो elder to me, actually not only became my friend but also a mentor, because having a mentor or having somebody senior who can guide you through this experience is very important, I felt, because being a fresher, kabhi experience nahi ki thi corporate life, there are so many things you don't know how to handle. As a kid suddenly pressure feel ho jata hai, you feel overwhelmed. 2-3 दिन तक दिमाग में एक silly email का content घूमता रहता है कि यार ऐसे क्यों लिख दिया, वैसे क्यों हो गया. So just making my way through such things was not the easiest if I didn't have somebody who maybe I could look up to as a mentor, as a friend. And she was that for me in office. I could discuss with her all my problems, whether it was work related or maybe managing this routine. क्योंकि जैसे तुमने बताया 9 to 6 बैठने की आदत किसको थी, बिल्कुल भी आदत नहीं थी. इट वॉज सो डिफरेंट बिकॉज sitting at one place working constantly was not something we were used to, especially coming out of college, जहाँ पे हम enjoy कर रहे हैं, बंक करके कहीं चले गए, मस्ती चल रही है, पार्टी चल रही है. पार्टी तो खैर हम अभी भी करते हैं बट वो एक रूटीन में सेट होना बहुत डिफिकल्ट था. तो आई थिंक ऑल्सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस टू हैव अ नाइस मेंटोर इन ऑफिस, हु कैन बी देयर फॉर अस. So that was something that was very special for me in office.
Honestly, I've also been lucky with that. Touch wood. My managers till now have been really nice because I have been able to build that rapport. So rather than having that boss feeling, who's looking over my work, it's always a mentor who's looking over my work to give me a positive outcome out of it. Probably give me an advice which will really help me in the future. And along with that, जब वो रैपो बन जाता है ना, then you don't even shy away from asking questions or putting in your thoughts. Because honestly, if I speak about myself, in college I did not have that much of a confidence, to speak around, put in my thoughts. क्योंकि I think college में इतना closed और इतना protected environment है ना, that you have your friends, you have your teachers who are not going to judge you for anything.
Right.
But at workplace, I honestly feel everything you say, every point you put, there are 10 other people who are thinking कि यार इसने ये कैसे सोचा, या ये क्यों पूछा, ये क्यों बोला. हर चीज़ पे there are things which are going around people's head, So that is also very important to ask questions, talk freely, put in your thoughts, and usually ask feedback about it. So I did that a lot. Every 2-3 weeks or probably a month, 2 months, I used to ask my manager, do you have a feedback in how I can do things better? You think I'm missing out on something? You think I can do anything a little more efficiently? And he always had views about it. He always felt कि यार maybe ये थोड़ा better कर सकते हैं, वो थोड़ा better कर सकते हैं. And then मेरे stupid Excel के doubts भी मैं पूछती थी उनसे.
वो doubts आज भी हैं हमें. I have still not learned my way through it.
Don't ask. Excel still confuses me, yaar. मतलब हर दिन there's a new function to. You won't believe. Recently I had to do some complex function. I had to use some complex function on Excel, and literally I had to Google my way throughout. I actually stumbled upon a course on Excel of I think 8-9 hours. जो मैंने actually लिया. I did that course so that I can at least get some hacks to get through this Excel and PPT के doubts and queries. So वो तो एक अलग उसमें एक अलग वीडियो बनाएंगे. All our Excel PPT rants, that can be an entire video content.
उस पे बहुत feelings है.
वो एकदम हार्ट से बनेगा वो वीडियो गाइस. डोंट जज अस ऑन दैट. एकदम दिल से हमारे रैंट्स और बातें निकलेगी. बट एनीवे, मूविंग अहेड. सो
बट लाइक यू सेड कि डाउट्स पूछना हो या एक फ्री एनवायरनमेंट होना हो ऑफिस में उतना इजी भी नहीं होता है. बिकॉज वंस एज अ स्टूडेंट यू हैव दिस ट्रांजिशन. कॉलेज में अप्रोच बहुत कैजुअल होती है कि फ्रेंड्स हैं, कुछ भी बोल दिया, कैसे भी बोल दिया. बट in office you have to be a little more particular. In this corporate space, what you're saying, how you're saying, because you might come across as a misunderstood person. Maybe you don't mean something a certain way, but it might sound in that way. So I think putting across your point to various type of people was very important for me. कि इनसे कैसे बात करनी है, या वो वाली टीम से कैसे बात करनी है, मेरे सीनियर से कैसे बात करनी है. हर एक के लिए एक डिफरेंट अप्रोच लेनी पड़ती थी. सो टू अडेप्ट दैट, आई जस्ट कांट बी दैट कैजुअल पर्सन एनी मोर. ऑफ कोर्स विद टाइम थिंग्स चेंज बिकॉज आई कुड बिल्ड दोज रैपोज एंड देन ऑटोमेटिकली थिंग्स बिकम मोर फ्रेंडली, मोर अप्रोचेबल. बट when you enter, it doesn't seem very comfortable, not so easy, because थोड़ा टाइम लगता है to set into that space where हम सीख रहे हैं किससे क्या बात करनी है, कैसे बात करनी है. बट लकीली धीरे धीरे वो रैपो बिल्ड होता गया एंड वो कॉन्फिडेंस भी बिल्ड होता गया. सो फ्रेशर्स के लिए आई थिंक ये चीज़ भी अडेप्ट करना थोड़ा चैलेंजिंग हो सकता है.
That again comes down to people management, which I'm still, being very honest, suffering on, because I have I'll almost be completing 2 years in my corporate job, and I'm still trying to figure out, how to really build those relations with different kinds of people in office. Yeah, there's a mix of people around in office. There is a lot of things happening in and around. So like you rightly said, there's a specific way in which you need to handle each and every person, because it's not like you have a choice to not communicate with certain set of people. You have to get your work done. That cannot take a hit. So there's of course a way. There are different ways that you need to look at to talk to people, get your work done. That requires some skills for sure, and that does take time, यार, honestly, because आज भी अगर मैं like I said आज भी I'm really I overthink on a lot of things. I overthink कि ये क्या सोच रहा होगा, मैंने ऐसा क्यों बोला, मैंने ये work इस तरीके से क्यों किया. So those things are a little you need to let go, otherwise honestly it will take a step into your personal life, because everything that we think about after 6 p.m. is honestly taking a toll on our personal life. That maintaining that line जो अभी तक मैं खुद सीख रही हूँ, मैंने अभी तक definitely नहीं सीखा how to keep my professional and personal life separate. I'm still trying to do that. In fact, I keep calling you on random days. Rather last
Don't I
night.
do the same?
Rather last night, where we actually talk about, ये कैसे deal करना है, वो कैसे deal करना है. तो वो भी एक important चीज़ है कि you can share it with your family, you can share it with your friends, because they will have gone through the same thing and must have handled in a different way that you are currently doing. So that also gives you an insight into it. So ये सब I think office का चलता रहता है, campus to corporate का transition है ऐसा.
Yeah, वो तो है, but I think इसके advantages भी हैं. Like I can see myself grow so much as a person. I can still imagine myself as a kid, entering this corporate space with a I was like in a bubble कि सब कुछ बहुत रोजी लगता है, सब कुछ ठीक से पता नहीं होता है about life, but after being in this corporate space now for 5 years, I think I have learned a lot, whether it is managing different type of people which I can carry back home also, because हर type के लोगों के साथ deal करना होता है, हर type का friend होता है, हर type के लोग होते हैं, family में भी, relatives में भी. So I think corporate space in general has helped me to grow. Because whether it is overthinking, मैं भी बहुत ज़्यादा overthinking करती हूँ, but luckily with time थोड़ा सा कम होता जा रहा है, because पहले किसी ने ऑफिस में इतना सा भी कुछ कमेंट कर दिया, so 2 दिन तक दिमाग में चल रहा है. टाइम के साथ बेटर हो रहा है, बट नॉट लाइक इसमें तो कोई मास्टर नहीं बन सकता, बिकॉज आई थिंक आज से 10 साल बाद भी हम यही प्रॉब्लम से डील कर रहे होंगे, बिकॉज ये वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस I don't think अब तक किसी ने क्रैक किया है. We just have to live with it every single day, tackle challenges every single day, and just
crack
through.
it someday.
Yes, we will crack it.
And then we share the mantra with you.
Yes, definitely. That can be one episode when we finally crack it.
So yeah, I think this was our experience of transitioning from campus to corporate. Both of them have their own positives, own negatives. We have had our rough times, we have had our good times.
Yes. And I think we can keep on and on talking about this topic, because everybody has different experiences. There are so many things we are dealing every day in this corporate space, so we can just go on and on and on about it. I'm sure सबके अपने experiences थे, but this was our experience. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our experience. So stay tuned. We'll be back again soon with a fresh new topic and a fresh new perspective.
Looking forward to it. Yes, thank you, and stay tuned, guys.
Stay tuned.